I have copied an article from Wikipedia on the photoelectric effect. This is one of the documents, and the other document looks like this. It's the same article, but they have been formatted differently. Formatting a page makes it better and easier to read. In this video, we will see how we can format a page, and mainly we will look at how we can set borders. For example, this one has a black border with a little bit of shadow in the back, and also it has been divided into two columns, and also the background is gray in color versus the white sheet of paper on which it will be printed. Let's look at how we can format a page like this. I have an unformatted document here. Let's go about formatting it. The first thing I want to do is format or add borders. To do that, I click on Format and I go to Page. Within Page, I have several tabs. The one I need to choose for adding borders is this one called Borders. The first option it allows me is, it asks me, do I want borders on all the four sides of the page? The second option, which is set all four borders, is what I prefer. So it gives me a preview here, and there is border set on all the four sides. Let me give you a demonstration of what two sides will look like. There is no top or bottom, only on the left and the right. And if I want only on the top or the bottom, I choose this one. Only on the left is this, and no border is this. Right now I want to choose all four borders, so I click on this. The second thing I want to choose is if I want shadows. Right now it says no shadow. I prefer a little bit of shadow, and there are multiple options. I choose the second one. This is what I prefer. If you want, you could play around with the rest of the options and figure out what the rest of the options do. I prefer a black colored shadow, so I'll leave it as it is, or maybe I just want to choose something gray. After I've chosen the borders and the shadow style, I also want to choose the kind of border I want. I can choose from these multiple options. Let me choose this option, which looks good. Instead of a plain simple line, I'm choosing something which has a little bit of texture. So let me choose that, and I can increase the size of that line over here in the width, and I can also choose the color of the border. I'm leaving all of that just the way it is right now, and over here is the space to content. I'll demonstrate what this means. Right now everything is 0. We will come back here and see what this does. I click apply and OK. We got a border. This is what we chose. We chose a black border with this kind of texture, and we have a border. The trouble I have right now is that the text is kind of sticking to the border. To fix that, I use the option that we spoke about, Format, Page, Border. Under Border, Spacing to Content. Right now there is absolutely no space from the border and the content. I will increase that, and I'll increase it to 1, and let's see how that looks. This is a little better. Everything is now away from the border and not touching the border. One of the other things I set was the shadow, and right now I can't see the shadow. So let me see what the trouble could be. The distance is 0 centimeters. That means the shadow is right behind the border, and that's not good. So let me set it as 0.2, and now I get to see the shadow a little bit. Now I'm happy with the setting of the border. It looks a little better and more legible. The other thing that my original document had was that it had divided the content into two columns. Columns like this are much more easier to read than the ones which have long sentences like these. So to do this, all I need to do is format page and go to a different tab. We were playing around with the borders. We need to go to the columns tab, and I choose not one but two columns with equal size as my option. There are many other things I can do here, but I'm going to leave most of that as it is, except I do want a separator line. What that means is I want this line that is separating the two columns. There is a horizontal vertical line separating the two columns. I need that line, so let me choose that separator line. Right now it says none. I choose a simple line and I click on apply and OK. Now it has divided it into two columns. I'm having the same issue with this line, that the text is touching the line. Let me go back, and over here I have this option called spacing. I had not chosen anything, so let me choose at least 0.5 centimeters as the spacing. And click OK. And now I have got some space between the two. And if you don't like, or if you prefer, you can increase the amount of space in the same way, and it applies to the rest of the column. So quickly, what we learned here is setting a border and a shadow and putting some space in between the border and the actual content, dividing the page into two columns, and also adding some space from this vertical line and the content.